I refused to attend my older sister's birthday after discovering she intended to pawn her and her guests' children off on me. She flew into a rage, demanding gifts and babysitting, so I gave her an unforgettable surprise cake. I'm Madison, I'm 26, and if I had to describe my recent life in one word, it would be taken for granted. Not by everyone, to be fair, but definitely by my older sister, Rachel. She's 33, a real estate agent, lives in a house too big for her family of 4, and wears high heels in her own backyard like she's about to strut down a fashion runway. Rachel has always been that kind of person, the one who believes being loud makes her right, who posts a perfectly filtered photo of her breakfast while her kitchen looks like a disaster zone. She's the type who lives for themed birthday parties, with rented decorations, and heaven forbid you arrive without a gift that screams, "You truly understand me." For years, I put up with it. I'm the youngest in the family, and apparently, that translates to being the default babysitter. I don't have kids of my own, and I don't particularly enjoy being surrounded by them for hours. But I am patient.com, and unfortunately, easy to manipulate, especially when guilt is involved. And Rachel is a master of guilt. She never asks directly. It's always phrased as a compliment. "You're just so good with kids," or "I don't know how you do it, I'd lose my mind." The thing is, that used to work on me. It made me feel valuable, needed, even important. But lately I've been seeing things differently. It started subtly at a family barbecue last summer where I spent the entire afternoon chasing after someone's sticky toddler while the adults sipped drinks and discussed mortgage rates. I didn't eat, I didn't sit down, and no one thanked me. At the end of the day, Rachel hugged me and said, "I owe you one," as if that meant anything. Spoiler, she never delivered. Or the time I was invited to Rachel's house for dinner, only to discover it was a trick to get me to babysit her kids while she and her husband went out for sushi. "You're a lifesaver," she said, applying lipstick in the mirror while handing me a list of emergency contacts and a baby monitor. She returned 4 hours later, and I didn't even get takeout. So, when she texted me about her birthday this year and intimate backyard gathering at her house with just the family, I hesitated. I asked who would be there. She listed a bunch of cousins and aunts, some family friends, and said, "It'll be super chill, just burgers, drinks, music, and sunshine." That's how she presented it, harmless, normal. She even added, "I really hope you can make it. It wouldn't be the same without you." I almost said yes. But then, about a week before the party, I was at our cousin Tessa's house for coffee. Tessa and I are close. She's one of the only family members who sees through Rachel's nonsense. Tessa stepped out to take a call and I went to refill my mug. That's when I heard Rachel's voice on speakerphone. She was laughing, not just a little, but full-on carefree laughter. I stood there in the kitchen, frozen, listening. She said, "Oh my God, I'm so glad Madison's coming. We can all actually enjoy ourselves for once. She's basically the family babysitter anyway." Then she added, between bursts of giggles, "Hopefully she wears something stretchy." 8 kids is no joke. I felt sick. 8 kids. No one had asked me. No one told me I was being drafted into childcare duty like it was a foregone conclusion. Like my presence at the party was conditional. Like I wasn't a guest, I was staff. And that stretchy comment, that stung, as if my worth was measured by how fast I could run after someone else's children. I didn't say anything then. I left Tessa soon after, faking a headache. I went home and sat on my bed for what felt like hours, just processing all these years. I had chalked up Rachel's behavior to carelessness, a lack of awareness. But now it was clear. It wasn't that she didn't know she was using me. She did, and she was proud of it. She laughed about it to other people. I decided to confront her, not aggressively, just to test the waters. The next day, I texted and asked if she planned any activities for the kids at the party, something simple. Her response, "Well, I figured you'd take care of that. You're so good with kids," with a sparkle emoji and a love you tagged on, as if I wouldn't notice the manipulation sandwiched in sugary nonsense, so I pushed back. I told her I wasn't comfortable watching a bunch of children at a party where I was supposedly a guest. I said it firmly but politely. Her tone flipped immediately. She said, "Wow, did you forget how much I've done for you?" Which was ironic, considering she's done nothing but borrow my time, my energy, and my patience for years. I told her I wouldn't be attending, she exploded. Not just a passive-aggressive text. I mean multiple texts, paragraphs, accusing me of ruining the vibe, of being selfish, of making her birthday about myself. She said I could have just helped a little and that I was punishing her kids for her decisions. Then she had the nerve to say at least send a generous gift, since you're bailing on family. At first I was going to ignore it, block her for a week, and let her stew in her own entitlement. But then I thought no, not this time. This time she was going to get exactly what she asked for, a generous gift, one that would teach her something she'd never forget. So I sent a gift. This would be an explosive surprise. I sent a cake, but not just any cake. This wasn't some store-bought last-minute sheet cake. No, I went full theater with this one. My best friend, Monica, works at a specialty bakery known for custom novelty cakes, the kind that go viral for gender reveals, proposer surprises, or, in this case, revenge art. She and I stayed up late scheming, laughing way too hard while designing what we dubbed the Glitter Bomb Queen. On the outside, it was flawless, classy, elegant, a tall, tiered cake wrapped in smooth white fondant with delicate gold trim lining the base and a crown of sugared roses on top. Across the front, in proud pink cursive, it read Queen Rachel. But inside it was rigged, specifically with a harmless, food-safe compressed air mechanism hidden beneath the top layer. Monica and her team built a tiny sealed chamber in the center of the cake, filled with edible glitter and pink whipped cream. The moment a knife applied enough pressure to the central column, boom, instant explosion. Nothing dangerous, of course, just dramatic. I scheduled it for delivery the day before Rachel's party. I wrote a sweet, syrupy card to go with it, thanking her for always being the queen of the family and teaching me so much about putting others first. It was the kind of passive-aggressive poetry I knew would slide right past her radar. She'd eat it up like a compliment, figuratively, and as it turned out, quite literally. Now, I didn't go to the party. I didn't need to. The real show was going to start when dessert was served. From what Tessa told me, everything was going according to Rachel's usual script. The decorations were over the top. The margarita machine was running full blast. The kids were running around wild, hyped on juice and cake anticipation, while the adults sipped cocktails and made forced small talk. And then the cake came out. Rachel, of course, insisted on cutting it herself. She posed for selfies beside it. She made a whole production of reading my card aloud, giggling about how cute I was. Tessa told me later it was dripping with fake sentimentality. She even called me such a thoughtful little sister in front of everyone. Then, with her guests gathered close, phones out and filming, she grabbed the cake knife and sliced dead center. That was the moment it happened. The compressed air mechanism triggered perfectly. A massive pop echoed across the backyard, followed instantly by an eruption of glitter and whipped pink goo that blasted Rachel in the face like a carnival cannon. It covered her hair, her white sundress, her manicured nails, everything pink. Cream dripped down her arms, and golden glitter stuck to every exposed inch of her body. The front row of her guests got a light dusting too, which apparently only made the moment more surreal. Tessa told me there was a full 10 seconds of stunned silence. Then someone she didn't see who clapped, not sarcastically, honest-to-God clap. A few people laughed, trying to stifle it behind their hands. Someone else shouted, "Is this part of the show?" Rachel didn't think it was funny. She screamed. Not a squeal, not a gasp, a full high-pitched scream that sent 2 kids crying and caused one elderly aunt to nearly drop her wine spritzer. She demanded someone do something, but there wasn't much to do. The damage was done. Her Queen Rachel moment had been turned into a glitter-soaked disaster. The crown had fallen, quite literally, into a pile of goo on the grass. She stormed off inside, apparently sobbing, and left the rest of the party standing awkwardly by the patio, not sure what to do. The kids, naturally, loved it. One even tried licking the whipped cream off the grass. Ethan, our cousin who never liked her in the first place, texted me a few hours later with, "You just set off a nuke at the party. Rachel looks like a unicorn exploded on her." I laughed so hard I nearly dropped my phone. Later that night, she called me. Correction. She attempted to call me. I didn't answer. She left 3 voicemails, each more furious than the last, accusing me of publicly humiliating her, of sabotaging her birthday, and of crossing a line. The final message ended with her screaming, "You ruined the best day of my year." As if she hadn't spent the past decade ruining my peace at every family gathering. When I finally did reply via text, I simply said, "It was just a cake. You should have appreciated the effort." She did not appreciate the effort. She blocked me on everything: Instagram, Facebook, phone, even Venmo, which, to be honest, was a relief. No more of her passive-aggressive likes, her cryptic Instagram captions about being let down by those closest to you, or her reminder texts a month later pretending she forgot whether I had sent her a gift. She cut me off completely, and it was the most peaceful week I've had in years. But the best part, according to Tessa, was that some of the guests thought it was hilarious. A few even asked for the bakery's contact info. Someone jokingly referred to it as the highlight of the summer. One guest told Tessa, at least something fun happened at that party for once. They said it was the only interesting part of the whole party. A few days after Rachel's glittery coronation meltdown, I noticed something strange. She unblocked me. No message, no apology, just quietly unblocked. I didn't respond. I wasn't about to reopen the gates to the drama queen's court. But the signs started popping up almost immediately. Her Facebook page, which had been silent for nearly a week, suddenly lit up with vague, martyr-like posts. The first one read, "Some people think being cruel is funny. That's between them and their karma." No names, no tags. But it was obvious. Tone, the timing, the sheer Rachelness of it. It was baked. She followed it with a carousel of carefully filtered photos from the party before the cake. Of course, posing with her guests, her margarita, her kids. Captions like, "Surround yourself with real love and betrayal doesn't come from enemies." She was playing the victim with such theatrical commitment it could have won her an Emmy. Then came the comments. Most were predictable. Cousins trying to stay neutral, acquaintances saying they were so sorry you went through that. But one stood out. It was from Aunt Marlene, our great-aunt who doesn't understand how the internet works and posts like she's live texting a soap opera. She wrote, "Honestly, it was kind of iconic. I haven't laughed that hard in years." That comment disappeared. In less than an hour, Rachel's version of events had already been making the rounds. As I later learned from Tessa, she had told the family I had deliberately mailed a dangerous device and that it exploded in her face, nearly blinding her and traumatizing her children. She claimed it was an act of cruelty disguised as a joke and insisted it was meant to humiliate her in front of the people who matter. The people who mattered apparently didn't include me. She was painting herself as the wounded queen, the helpless target of her evil, jealous little sister, and it was working. Split of a few relatives messaged me asking what really happened. My mother, in full panic mode, actually called. Her voice was tight and worried, asking if I'd heard what happened at the party, as if I hadn't been the one holding the match to the fuse. I explained everything. I told her it was a novelty cake from a licensed bakery, built specifically for harmless, edible pranks. I even sent her Monica's website and a link to a glitter-filled divorce cake they made for a client who requested that the inside spell out, "Finally free in sprinkles." My mom went silent, then started laughing. She asked if it was really true that pink whipped cream went flying. I said yes. She snorted. The call ended with her saying she wished someone had filmed it. Turns out, someone did. I haven't seen the video, but apparently, clips were being passed around in private group chats like a family cryptid sighting. The moment of the glitter bomb, the stunned pause, the scream, the sparkly aftermath, it had become legend. And the best part, several of Rachel's so-called close friends started sliding into my DMs. One asked where I got the cake. Another said they were thinking of ordering one for their boyfriend's 30th. One girl, someone I vaguely remembered from high school who now does beauty content online, said, "Honestly, that was the highlight of her birthday. I didn't even want to come, it was delicious." I said nothing. I didn't gloat. I didn't post about it. I let the glitter speak for itself. But Rachel caught wind of the whispers, and she did not take it well. She went on an Insta story rampage, one of those long chains of text posts on muted pink backgrounds, full of vague accusations and emotional hashtags. She ranted about fake friends who support cruelty, about toxic forgiveness culture, and how she was tired of always being the bigger person. At one point, she even posted a selfie looking tearful and tagged #healing through the hurt. Still, I said nothing. Total silence on my end, until she crossed the line. Out of nowhere, I got a Venmo request from her. The amount, $187. The note, power wash and emotional damages. That smiley face was the final straw. I declined it immediately, but not without adding a note of my own. I wrote, "Frosting washes off. Entitlement doesn't." 2 hours later, got the notification. She blocked me again. A week after the Venmo stunt and the second block, I figured the storm had passed. Rachel hadn't found a new way to gate post. I hadn't heard from any more distant relatives trying to play peacemaker, and the group chats had, mercifully, gone quiet. I was honestly starting to enjoy the silence. The whole thing had become one of those family stories people whisper about for years, the kind where everyone knows what happened, but no one dares say it out loud unless they're tipsy at Thanksgiving. Then I got a message from someone completely unexpected. Susan. Susan is Rachel's next-door neighbor. She's retired, dresses like every day is Sunday service, and has been on the HOA board since the suburbs were invented. She's the type of woman who owns a clipboard and isn't afraid to use it. I barely knew her outside of the stories Rachel told. According to Rachel, Susan was nosy, uptight, and had a vendetta against fun. According to reality, Susan might just be my new favorite person. Her message was professional and politely worded, but the subtext was clear. She was amused. She said she wanted to clear up a matter regarding a recent event at your sister's residence. Apparently, Rachel had filed a formal complaint with the Homeowners Association, claiming I had vandalized her birthday party and damaged community property. Yes, you read that right. She didn't just stop at being angry. She tried to escalate things legally with the HOA. Her report claimed that the glitter from the cake explosion had traveled via wind gusts into the neighboring yard. Susan's yard end created a visual hazard and environmental concern. She claimed it would attract birds and insects and had permanently altered the ambience of her outdoor space. She called it a deliberate act of sabotage disguised as a gift. She even attached blurry party photos like she was building a case for CSI Suburbia Edition. Susan looked into it. She reviewed the security camera footage from her own porch and saw, shockingly, no clouds of invasive glitter raining down on her lawn, no mobs of glitter-hungry bees, no suburban ecological meltdown. But what she did find, Rachel's own pre-party social media posts, including one caption that read, "Expect a bang, literally, lol," alongside a picture of the pristine cake sitting on a folding table. So not only did Rachel lie to the HOA, but she publicly documented her own knowledge of the surprise. He didn't just know about it. She anticipated it. She joked about it. She posted about it. She forgot to delete that one. Susan, who by this point had clearly read the tea leaves, forwarded everything to the board, and the board didn't take kindly to being manipulated. Rachel was slapped with a formal HOA warning for false claims, event mismanagement, and excessive noise violation. Apparently, the party had gone on too late, and neighbors had already filed a noise complaint the night of the event. Her attempt to weaponize suburban politics completely backfired. I didn't need to lift a finger. Rachel sabotaged herself with her own Wi-Fi. It didn't stop there. Apparently, Rachel's HOA antics have made her a bit of a local celebrity. Susan forwarded the screenshots and complaint log to the board's community newsletter team, not in a malicious way, but as part of a policy transparency initiative. And yes, they really did title the section Event Hosting Etiquette, What Not to Do. Let's just say it wasn't flattering. Tessa told me that Rachel lost it when the newsletter arrived in the mail. She marched across the street and banged on Susan's door, demanding a retraction and threatening legal action for lies. Susan apparently told her, cool as a cucumber, that the HOA board owns the newsletter and Rachel signed a membership agreement when she moved in. Rachel ended up walking back to her house, red-faced and yelling at her husband on the front lawn, still covered in remnants of last year's patio chalk art. And speaking of Rachel's husband, Tyler, until this point, Tyler had remained totally silent. He's one of those husbands who exists in the background of family events like a ghost in boat shoes, quiet, polite, forgettable. We'd never been close, and he always seemed to float through Rachel's chaos like someone trying not to get involved. So I was surprised when he called me. He didn't scream, he didn't accuse. He sounded tired, really tired. He asked if I could just apologize to keep the peace, to smooth things over. He sounded like a man begging for a ceasefire. I let him talk for a minute, then asked him one question. Would he be okay with someone expecting him to work for free while trash-talking him behind his back? He didn't answer right away. Then he sighed and said, honestly, no. I told him Rachel was the one who crossed the line, not me. He didn't argue, he didn't defend her. He just said he understood, and the call ended quietly. I haven't heard from him since, but according to Tessa, who remains the unofficial family spy, he's been sleeping in the guest room. The silence between us remains thick, but it's not hostile anymore. It's hollow. Rachel hasn't reached out, hasn't apologized, hasn't even acknowledged me directly, but she doesn't have to. Her entire social orbit has shifted, in subtle, irreversible ways, and everyone sees it. What started as a novelty cake has become the lit match that ignited a long overdue fuse. The fallout wasn't dramatic, not in the screaming match or family divided forever kind of way. It was quieter than that, quieter and far more permanent. The family dynamic has changed. For as long as I can remember, Rachel had a gravitational pull around her, not because she earned it, but because she demanded it the loudest voice in the room, the birthday queen, the self-appointed hostess of holidays, the judge and jury of everyone else's choices. She'd spin stories, twist situations to suit her narrative, and make herself the star, even if it meant stepping over someone else's dignity to do it. Most of the family went along with it out of habit, some out of fear, others just didn't care enough to push back. But the cake incident, the pink-littered chaos, and Rachel's over-the-top meltdown shook something loose. People started talking. Not malicious gossip, just honesty. Tessa told me that a few of the cousins, the ones who used to nod and smile at Rachel's digs and demands, now roll their eyes when she starts up. There's no more jumping to her defense, no more automatic agreement. The pedestal is still standing, but it's lost its height, and Rachel knows it. The most telling moment came during Sunday dinner at our mum's house. Our mum, who has always walked a line of peacemaker, made her position clear without even raising her voice. When Rachel complained about people not appreciating what she brings to the family, Mum paused mid-salad toss and said, "Rachel, if you expect everyone to give you a parade, don't be surprised if the confetti hits you back." The room went silent. Then Tessa laughed. Then everyone did. Rachel didn't say much for the rest of the meal, but that was the turning point, the moment even she realized the rules had changed. The cake didn't ruin her, let's be clear. Rachel is too stubborn, too image-obsessed, to fully implode. But it cracked the veneer. The mask slipped, and underneath the glossy birthday posts and Queen of the Day energy, people finally saw what had always been there. A person who expects the world to orbit around her, and throws a tantrum when it doesn't. She's lost a few friends since then. Quiet exits, no dramatic fights, just people who stopped replying, stopped showing up, stopped pretending. The women from her gym group don't tag her in posts anymore. The mompreneur friend she used to brunch with on her entirely. One of her old co-workers even reposted a meme about chronic victim energy the same day Rachel posted a sunset selfie with the caption "Still healing from betrayal." The comments under it were awkward. Some of them are gone now. Her Instagram is still active, but the vibe is different. The captions are shorter, quieter. No more queen energy or detoxing from negativity, just filtered photos of her kids, a few flowers, some inspirational quotes that sound like they were pulled from a meditation app. No more braggy party recaps, no more not-so-subtle jabs at toxic people. She's trying to dial it back, rebuild something, but it's not the same. And as for me, something shifted there too. The last time I saw her, it was at Mum's place again. She was already there when I arrived. No dramatic exit, no frozen smile, just a quiet nod when our eyes met. The room didn't tense up, no one braced for fireworks. She asked me if I wanted any iced tea, calmly, just like that. She stopped trying to rope me into babysitting, stopped with the fake flattery, the manipulation. There's a new neutrality in how she talks to me now, measured, polite, respectful. It's not warmth, not yet, but it's something better, boundaries. And the wild part, I didn't have to yell, I didn't have to scream or confront or beg for change. I sent a glitter bomb inside a cake, and it detonated more than pink frosting. It revealed the imbalance in our relationship that had been there all along. And once that curtain was pulled back, it couldn't be unseen.